Okay, everyone. So in this brief video, we want to share with you the proof that we discovered that Cryptex is real and is indeed doing exactly what it says that it does. It's actually delivering on the promise. Because let's face it, the big elephant in the room when you hear this incredible offer is this real? I mean, there's not a person on the planet who, if you said, "Hey, give me $100 and I'll give you back 35,000 in 3 years," 471,000 in 5 years, or 1.5 million in 7 years. There's not a person on the planet who wouldn't say yes if they believe that it was real. Let me show you what we discovered. First of all, because the company had been around since 2016, we were able to find people who'd been involved with the company for more than 3 years. And as long as we let them black out, or in this case, read out some of the actual identifying information for their contracts, they allowed us to actually share this snapshot of their actual back office. If you can see these dates here, you can see that on January 10th of 2023, this person withdrew $98,800 from Cryptex. One day later, on January 11th, they withdrew 89,000. On March 15th of the same year, they took out 100,000. March 18th, another 100,000. March 20th, 112,000, and March 21st, $105,000 or $100,000, 500. Now, if you think about that, you add up all those numbers, you're talking about more money that they withdrew in about 2 months than a lot of people make in 10 years of working a full-time job. So this was some evidence to us that a lot of money was being paid out by Cryptex. Now, we found another individual who actually agreed to literally record and document the entire process for us. So they showed us their back office where they could see that they had actually gotten, this is 2 contracts, but they got them on 11/20 of 2020. So November 20th of the year 2020. It also shows the contract end date, November 21st of 2023. So 3-year contracts exactly. They were actually back in 2020 offering $43,000 per contract loan. You see that they got an email exactly on the termination date, November 21st of 2023. It came from Cryptex support, and it basically told them that it was time for them to come collect their earnings. Their contract had terminated, and it showed them the breakdown. $501,000 was the original balance after all the compounding. They had some back-end user fees that brought it down to 485,000. They then sent back, and this is what Cryptex will do, they send back the bank all of the loan capital that the bank put up front. In this case, they had 2 loans, so they had gotten $43,200 for each one. The smart contract sends back that 86,400 to the bank, and it leaves 398,000 $745.68 that this person is now due. He then actually took a picture of his back office and showed us that 398, 745, 68 that was deposited into his Cryptex account. He then hit the withdrawal button, and he then went on to show us his actual custodial wallet, his Bitcoin wallet that he owned and he had control over. He logged into it with his cell phone, and he showed us that this 10.597 Bitcoin, again, this was back in 2023, had been deposited into his account out of Cryptex. You can see the $388,653.68 here worth of Bitcoin. So he paid about a 4% withdrawal fee to get his Bitcoin into his wallet. 10.597 in Bitcoin back in 2023, which was awesome, was about almost 400 grand. Obviously today it's now over $1 million. So if that person had held onto that Bitcoin, over $1 million in Bitcoin. The final piece of evidence we wanted to provide for you and prove was that we were able to look at the blockchain. That's the great thing about a blockchain project. You know, a blockchain is a distributed ledger. All cryptocurrencies run on a blockchain. This project is on a blockchain. The blockchain is transparent, secure, and public, but most important, it cannot be faked. So once you get paid from Cryptex, you have a payment wallet. You can simply track back to and see where it came from, and you can see the amount of payments that are going out of that wallet. So people have done that. They've found several wallets. I'm going to show you 2 here very quickly. The first one, as you can see, had 52,682,588,662 go through it. So this is a payment wallet. Cryptex submits this 52 billion and change, and people withdraw the 52 billion and change. And this is what it looks like. You see these red arrows? That's people like you and I doing their withdrawal. The green arrows is Cryptex actually putting the initial money in there for people to take out. But this is a person who withdrew on May 13th, 2025, $6.9 million. Here's another red arrow withdrawal, $451,000 on the 13th. Another red arrow withdrawal, $4.9 million. And finally, another one on May 12th, the day before, $5 million. All of these coming from the same wallet. You're seeing these types of payments happening every single day. Here's another Bitcoin wallet that people were able to track back to for Cryptex. 516,241,580,691 has been paid out by Cryptex through this particular wallet. Again, $516 billion. Now, the final elephant in the room I want to cover is this just a giant $100 Ponzi scheme? I know when a lot of people first looked at this, they said, okay, I can't dispute the fact that they're paying out tens and hundreds of billions of dollars, but how do I know that this isn't all just based off of the $100 processing fee? Guys, let's do the quick math. Cryptex has a little over 800,000 account holders at this point. Let's round it all the way up to 900,000, and then we'll multiply that by the $100 processing fee. That gives us a number of 90 million. Now, let's assume that all of these 900,000 people all got the full 80 contracts that they were maxed out at. You'd still have 90 million times 80 contracts. That would be $7.2 billion. That is a lot of money, no question, but I just showed you two wallets, and the smaller one had paid out over $52 billion. That's $45 billion more than the maximum amount of money that could have ever have come into Cryptex if we were just basing it off of $100. So guys, as you can see, that's not possible. The reality is every $100 fee is represented by a $30,000 loan into the staking contract or a $43,200 loan into the staking contract. It's then compounded for 3, 5, or 7 years, so big profits are earned. That's the only way that they can be paying out this type of money. So there's the proof. Hopefully that helps you resolve some of the questions that you had. Remember, they're not turning $100 into these big amounts. They're turning $30,000 and $40,000 loans into these big amounts. And when you look at the math that way, it starts to make a lot more sense.